Italy and the United States are strong allies and really close friends. We have each other's backs. We also have Ukraine's back. That's why I'm urging the House of Representatives to pass legislation that allows us to, in a bipartisan way, continue to support Ukraine. And I want to thank you, Giorgia, for Italy's unwavering support for Ukraine. Also, we're going to discuss the Middle East. Innocent people got caught in a terrible war, unable to feed their families, and you saw the response when they tried to get aid. And we need to do more, and the United States will do more. In the coming days, we're going to join with our friends in Jordan and others in providing airdrops of additional food and supplies. No excuses, because the truth is, aid flowing to Gaza is nowhere nearly enough. With the announcement of this new rule, late fees are now going down to $8 instead of the current average of $32 late fee payments. This action will collectively save families $10 billion in credit card late fees every year. Under the law, banks are not supposed to charge late fees that are higher than the cost the banks have to engage to collect the late payment. But we estimate banks are generating 5 times more in late fees than it costs to collect late payment. They're padding their profit margins. Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. thinking about millions of Americans out there who are lying in bed at night staring at the ceiling wondering, what happens to me? How am I going to pay for it? How will I do it? The mothers and fathers wondering if their children come down with a chronic disease. How are they going to deal with it? Not a joke. You're going to have to sell the house. You're going to have to mortgage. What are you going to have to do? It's consequential. Can you afford the medical bills? Look, folks, as I said in my State of the Union, I'm doing everything I can to lower the health care costs to provide people with peace of mind. Not at the expense of doctors or medicine or hospitals or drug companies, but just to make it fair. Well, gentlemen, welcome. It's great to have you back in Washington, and good seeing you all again. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, it's an honor to welcome you to the historic anniversary. 25 years ago today, Poland joined NATO, and some of you may remember I was very involved in that happening. We stand together, no force on earth is more powerful. I believed that then, and I believe it now. And we see it in Polish-American troops serving side by side in NATO on the eastern flank, including in Poland. And we see it in our commitment to strengthen NATO's collective defenses. I want to thank you both for Poland's unwavering security and humanitarian assistance, including welcoming about 1 million Ukrainian refugees. So thank you both again for being here at this critical time. And with that, Mr. President, I hand it over to you. The floor is yours. For generations, Black, Brown, and Native American, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians communities weren't fully included in our democracy or our economy. Yet by pure courage, heart, and grit, they never gave up. They pursued the full promise of America. Today, we're recognizing that history to make new history. Well, Taoiseach, welcome back to the Oval Office. It's good to have you back. Today celebrates 100 years of diplomatic relations between Ireland and America, and we both know there's a whole lot more has to be done. We're working together to increase humanitarian assistance in Gaza. We're standing together to support Ukraine in the face of Putin's onslaught. And I want to thank you, Leo, for Ireland's unwavering assistance to Ukraine.
It just makes such a difference to have the Good Friday Agreement properly functioning. And then on Ukraine, I just really want to thank you in America for your leadership on Ukraine. And we don't think that if Putin is successful in Ukraine, he'll stop there.
Well, thank you very much. We'll get a chance to bring in our delegations, and thank you all for being here, folks. I stand here as a proud descendant of the Finnegans and the Blewitts, and this pride is part of my soul. I'm sure that all of you who are Irish ancestors feel the same way. And I think together, Ireland and America are always marching forward toward a better world, toward a better life, and one of greater liberty, greater dignity, and greater equity, opportunity, and possibilities for everybody. Like our ancestors, remember, no barrier is too thick or too strong for Ireland and the United States to get through. So my prayer today is we continue, we increase our working together. Thank you all for having me.
Happy Women's History Month. This month and every month, we honor the women who shaped our nation and our world. And I believe the measure of the strength of a democracy is measured based on the standing of its women.
We simply don't know enough about how to prevent, detect, or treat the conditions that affect women uniquely, disproportionately, or differently. But that ends today.
For the first time ever in our nation, a president, that guy right there, he is going to sign an executive order that will transform the way our federal government deals with women's health. It matters because women do not, nor do their doctors, have the necessary research or data to make informed decisions. This matters because when women ask questions, they can't get answers because the majority of the research that's been done in this country has only been done on men.
Think of all the breakthroughs we've made in medicine across the board, but women have not been the focus. And I'm directing the most comprehensive set of executive actions ever taken to improve women's health. Can't lead America with old ideas that take us backwards. But here's the deal. As more folks move to Nevada for good paying jobs, we need housing that's affordable. And my new plan would help hundreds of thousands more, including foster kids, living on their own for the first time. It's also going to help thousands of veterans afford their rent because no one should be homeless in America, especially someone who served this country. And folks, we know affordable housing has been a challenge for a long time. To solve it long term, we have to increase supply because when supply is down, demand is up, costs rise. The bottom line to lower housing costs for good is to build, build, build. Folks, altogether, experts are calling these measures, quote, the most consequential housing plan in more than 50 years. We're creating a new cycle of hope and pride. Pride in your hometowns, making a comeback. Pride in America. Pride in knowing you can get big things done if we work together. America invented these chips. Don't forget that we invented these chips. When the pandemic shut down chips factories overseas, prices of everything went up. First time Americans began to realize just how important they were. So I was determined to turn things around, to invest in America, and all Americans. And that's what we've been doing. Just getting started. Since my CHIPS Science Act was led to partnership with companies investing billions and billions of dollars across the country, bringing semiconductor manufacturing back to America, jobs of the future back to America. Today's investment helps all Americans in red states and blue states, all across America, urban, rural, suburban, and tribal communities. But we're not leaving anyone behind. If we invented in America, it should be made in America.
The President of Guatemala.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, it's an honor.
Welcome. I spoke with Governor Moore this morning, as well as the Mayor of Baltimore, the County Executive, both United States Senators and the Congressman. And my Secretary of Transportation is on the scene. I told them we're going to send all the federal resources they need as we respond to this emergency. And I mean all the federal resources. We're incredibly grateful for the brave rescuers who immediately rushed to the scene, and to the people of Baltimore who want to say, we're with you. We're going to stay with you as long as it takes. And like the Governor said, you're Maryland tough, you're Baltimore strong, and we're going to get through this together. And I promise we're not leaving. Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime.
So we here agree that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And guided then by that fundamental belief, over the past 3 years, President Biden and I have made health care more accessible and more affordable for millions of Americans. We cut the cost of prescription drugs for millions of seniors. We expanded access to Medicare and Medicaid. We made the largest investment in youth mental health in history, with 14,000 new mental health counselors in schools across our nation, including hundreds right here in North Carolina. And we strengthened the Affordable Care Act so that today, more Americans have health care coverage than ever before in the history of our country.
14 years ago this week, I stood by President Obama when he signed the Affordable Care Act into law, Obamacare. And as many of you know, I thought it was a big deal. Through laws I wrote and signed, the American Rescue Plan, Inflation Reduction Act, both of which not a single solitary Republican in the Congress voted for. I enacted tax credits to save an average of $800 per person per year, reducing health care premiums for millions of working families under the Affordable Care Act. Today, everyone can get affordable coverage through the ACA. And 80% of the folks on the ACA plan can get a plan for $10 a month. $10 a month. On top of that, more Americans have health care today than under any other president, and it's saving American taxpayers money. While there are those who want to take us back in time, all of us together are determined to move us forward. And here's the future I see. I see a future where we defend democracy, not diminish democracy. I see a future where health care is a right, and we restore the freedom to choose and protect the freedoms not to take it away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy begin to pay their fair share.